In this video, I'll show you how to use the order of operations to evaluate an expression. This video also contains practice problems, and you're going to want to pause your video player and practice these problems before you watch me work them. We learn math by doing it, not watching other people do the math. So make sure on these practice problems you hit pause and work the problem before you watch me solve these problems. Now, with the order of operations, it's going to be important that we follow the order of operations, which means we're going to have to memorize the order of operations. And here are the order of operations. The first thing that we do is the parentheses or groupings. And so we usually use the P, the letter P, to indicate that that's parentheses or groupings. Then we do E, exponents. Then multiplication and division. Now with multiplication and division, these tie. That's why they're both listed on the same line. And so in a tie, we work from left to right. So if the multiplication comes first, we do it. Or if the division comes first, we do that, working left to right. Same thing here with addition and subtraction. They occur, they're a tie. So we work from left to right with addition and subtraction. To help you memorize this, we can use the following saying. For P, for parentheses and groupings, we can use the word please, and then excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. The beginning of each of those words matches the beginning of each of the words in the order of operations. So that can help you remember or memorize the order of operations. Now let's take a look at an example that will help you understand how we use the order of operations to evaluate an expression. So example 1 here, I'm asked to evaluate this expression. This whole thing here is my expression, and now I want to follow the order of operations. So I'm thinking please or parentheses for the first thing, and that means I need to get any problems or any work inside of the parentheses down to a single answer, which is right there. I need to get that 10 minus 7 down to a single answer. So let's take a look. 10 minus 7 is 3. Now notice I'm rewriting the rest of the problem. That's very important with an order of operations question. Too much information for us to keep track of in our head, so we do one step at a time. Working down the page, we keep rewriting the problem. Okay? Now my parentheses are down to a single answer, so the kind of the parentheses step of the order of operations is done. Next I would go to exponents, and I do have an exponent there, 3 to the second power. That's an exponent. 3 to the second power means 3 times 3, or 9. So now I rewrite the problem. Now I'm done with exponents, so now I go to multiplication and division, and I have both. So the multiplication here I'm going to do first, so 4 times 9 is 36. The reason I did the multiplication first is because it happened first. Now I would do the division. 12 divided by 3 is 4. And then finally, the last thing I'll do in this expression is add the 36 and the 4 together to get an answer of 40. Notice I work down the page, working one step at a time. When I get done, my answer or my work kind of looks like a big triangle here, where it starts out big and we keep narrowing it down until we get down to our final answer. Now it's time to check your understanding of using the order of operations to evaluate an expression. Pause your video player and answer these 2 guided practice questions. When you're done answering these questions, hit play to see how you did. Question 1, we're asked to evaluate this expression using the order of operations. And so notice I have division and multiplication. So I want to do the division first since it comes first. So I would do 24 divided by 3. 24 divided by 3 gives me 8. Rewrite the problem. And now I'm going to take 8 times 4, which will give me 32. Question 2. We're going to follow the order of operations starting with parentheses. And you notice we have some work to do in this set of parentheses over there. This first set of parentheses with a negative 3 is pretty much done for us. It's all the way down to a single answer. So inside the parentheses, 7 minus 1 is 6. Now I've got my parentheses all down to a single answer. I'm going to look for exponents. And I do have an exponent here. The square root is actually an exponent, so we want to do that next. So this is going to be negative 3. And since these things were written next to each other, that means multiplication. So I'm going to have negative 3 times whatever the result of the square root of 4 is. Well, the square root of 4 is 2. Okay, I'm done with exponents now. So now I go to multiplication and division. I have 2 multiplications. So negative 3 times 2 is negative 6. And then 3 times 6 is positive 18. And the last step, negative 6 plus 18, is going to give me a positive 12. Pause your video player again and answer these 2 guided practice questions. When you're done, hit play to see how you did. Question 3. We're asked to evaluate this expression. Well, notice we have braces, brackets, and parentheses in this problem. Well, braces, brackets, and parentheses, they all mean the same thing as parentheses. The reason we have them all in here is because it makes it easier to keep everything straight as to what's going on. So we're going to try to evaluate what's inside the brackets first. Well, inside the brackets we have parentheses, so we'll do what's in those parentheses first. So 6 minus, then we have our bracket, 2 plus the answer inside the parentheses. That's a 3 minus 7, so I'm going to think of that as 3 plus negative 7. 3 plus negative 7 is negative 4. Okay, still working inside the brackets there. We have 2 plus negative 4. That's going to give us negative 2. Now we have 6 minus a negative 2. That's a double negative situation, so let's change that to plus a positive. So 6 plus positive 2 is 8. And I have 8 minus 9, which is, or 8 plus a negative 9, which would give me a negative 1 for my final answer. Question 4. Starting over here, inside the brackets. Notice I have some fraction work to do there. I'm trying to take 21/7 from 6, so let's go over on some scratch work here. Let's write that 6 as a fraction. 6 over 1. That's 21 over 7. We got to get a common denominator. The LCD is 7. I only need to change this fraction. This one has the correct denominator already, so I would say 6 over 1 times something. It's going to give me a denominator of 7. So my missing multiplier there is 7. Multiply top and the bottom by 7. That gives me 42/7. So what I have then is I have 42/7 minus 21/7. Let's see, 42/7 minus 21/7 gives me 21/7. I can simplify that actually by doing the division. 7 goes into 21 evenly. That gives me 3. So let's go back to my problem here. I have 25 divided by negative 5 squared minus 3 inside the brackets. Now we just got an answer of 3. Now our brackets are done, so let's go to exponents next. I need to evaluate negative 5 to the second power. Notice the negative is inside the parentheses. That means we're taking negative 5 times negative 5, which will give us an answer of positive 25. Okay, now I have to look for multiplication and division. I have both. The division comes first, so let's do that first. 25 divided by 25 is going to give me 1. Now multiplication next. 3 times 3 is 9. And then finally 1 minus 9, I can think of that as 1 plus negative 9. And 1 plus negative 9 is negative 8 for my final answer.